And we are live. Hello, everybody. Hi, welcome. Let's see how many people we got. It's not updating. Hi, welcome. As always, we're going to give it a couple minutes. Throw up on the Discord that we are live. Hello. Welcome to this week's stream. We are here on a Saturday, and we're going to be looking at a lot of SpongeBob stuff. So welcome, everybody. Welcome. The notification that we're live on that. Amazing. My chat's over here. So you see staring over here. I'm trying to see. Welcome. Ooh, hi Shane. Hi D-Rad. Welcome. Gildo Borges. Hello. As always, we're just going to wait a little bit. Let people get the notification, let people hop on, let people join us. Like I said, we're looking at a lot of SpongeBob today. But we're just going to go. I don't have really an end time. Usually our end time is about an hour, but I got like four pretty simple avatars that we're going to throw up. Is it ultra wide? Very cool. I've been making some small tweaks and edits and hoping certain things work a little bit better, look a little nicer. Things have been shifting and moving around, camera angles, cleaning it up. So welcome. And it's going to keep improving. Go across the next couple of weeks as I try to make it look a little spicier, a little nicer. So thank you for noticing. Welcome. All right, we'll give it about like another minute. Fire it off at 10:04 my time. Let people join us. Like I said, we're looking at SpongeBob today before we jump into our official welcome. Hopefully everybody's been having fun with MetaTailor. Hopefully everybody had a good holidays. Screaming into the new year. So do we have one more stream before the new year? What's next week's? No, I won't see you guys after this stream until next year. Always a great joke. So this is our last stream of 2025. I should have done something for that. Welcome to our final stream of 2025. So, ending it on a high note, looking at avatars, keep it up with this MetaTailor Foundations series. As we jump into it. Alright, that's 10:04. That was my time before we go, so let's go. As always, hello everybody and welcome to the MetaTailor live stream. Today we are taking a look at SpongeBob SquarePants because about a week or so ago now, Fortnite released a whole bunch of SpongeBob merchandise and I thought, hey, it's fun, I haven't done SpongeBob yet. So let's take a look at some SpongeBob characters today. We got SpongeBob, Patrick, Squidward, the usual guys. We're gonna bring them in as avatars. I've got a couple of pieces of clothing to go with them. I'll talk to you about my thought process and how I went through all that. But there will be an in-depth view of how I prepared these avatars and characters that I'll throw up on YouTube in a couple days, just like last time. Well, not last time, the time before that when we did our Dark Knight character. So that worked really well. People seem to enjoy that video, so we'll do it again. give it a like. Make sure you comment on that video if you do enjoy that and like seeing how I work through that in Autodesk Maya. But today we are strictly looking at MetaTailor and Mixamo, and I don't think we're going to be jumping into any other programs, but we'll take a peek. We might pop into Maya just a little bit here and there to do a couple cleanups and tweaks like that, but it is going to be a MetaTailor focus stream on avatars today. So, as always, if you like this live stream, if you like this content, make sure you like, subscribe, join the MetaTailor channel, and join our Discord. I linked the Discord in the chat. I'll link it again at the end of the night. But our Discord community is amazing. Please join us on our Discord. That's where you'll get notifications of all of our upcoming live streams. If there's any new content or anything like that, that's where we will announce it. And a lot of times, they get a secret stream before everybody else. So make sure you jump on our Discord, sign up for our Discord, be in that chat, because not only is it great for those updates and stuff like that, it's amazing. It's an amazing community altogether. If you've got questions, support, stuff like that, we try to stay on it and get those questions answers as fast as we can. But on top of that, we've got a really great community. If you've got Unreal questions, Maya questions, ZBrush questions, anything like that, there's a whole bunch of pros and experts and game designers and stuff in that chat that can help offer feedback and stuff like that. So please join our Discord channel. It is an amazing place. So without further ado, without no more nonsense, let's jump into it and take a look at what we're working with today. So let's go ahead and jump over to the desktop plus my big old head. Bring that over here. So I've got MetaTailor open, and I have, like I said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 characters. Yeah, 6 characters altogether. Actually, some of these aren't characters, but we're gonna take a look at some of these assets, avatars, stuff like that. Start bringing that in here. And I'm just going to run the stream until I get through it all. So it might go a little bit over our usual hour. We'll just see. We'll just have some fun with it. So let's start off with our premier character. Let's start off with SpongeBob. So I've got SpongeBob in here. I've already got the FBX for the live character, his boots, his pants, and his sleeves. SpongeBob's a little bit different. SpongeBob doesn't have as much that we can dress, but I thought we could put some fun hats on him and stuff like that and bring in the avatar. Now, with these avatars, the one thing I really haven't tested yet is how well they work in Mixamo. So this stream is a little bit of a test to see how characterized we can put these characters in. So the kind of idea of this MetaTailor Foundation series that we're working for is just kind of showing you how I would work in MetaTailor in the real world, kind of show you some of the basics and stuff like that, and walk everybody through how to use MetaTailor. So let's go ahead and upload this SpongeBob character. Like I said, if you want to see how I created all these FBXs and stuff like that, I will be dropping a YouTube video on the channel in a couple days to walk you through how to prep a character like this for your streams. So we've got SpongeBob here, and I am throwing this in Mixamo. The program I'm in right now is Mixamo. We've used it a lot in the past streams. If you're interested in how to use Mixamo, we've got videos on that. I can walk you through it. But Mixamo is an amazing way to rig any avatar. Any FBX you bring in, anything like that, Mixamo is the place to drop it in there to give it an instant rig. And that rig then works in MetaTailor to bring these avatars in. So we've got SpongeBob, so we just have to set up a couple things. Now, like I said, this character, I don't know how well it's going to work. We're going to test it together. The Squidward character, the Patrick character, they should work a little bit more easily. But this one's tricky, because he's not a normal human character. And I thought it'd be interesting to give it a shot with all of you live on stream. Kind of walk you through the thought process. All right. We don't need 3 chain fingers, 2 chain fingers. We'll just leave this as it is. Excuse me. And right away in Mixamo, I'll be able to tell if this character is going to work in MetaTailor. Based on how they build the skeleton, based on how it moves, and some of these free animations they have, we can kind of get a good sense of how well this will work in MetaTailor. Like I said, super stylized character. We've worked with a lot of meta-humans, we've worked with a lot of realistic characters, we've worked with a lot of like anime characters or video game characters, but all of those are generally humanoid. All of those are really kind of your standard bipedal characters. Today, I'm trying to test MetaTailor and push its limits to see, can we add some truly unique characters, some cartoony characters, and still get them dressed and still get it working? And I have a feeling that it'll work really well. But we're going to test it together. All right, so that's not too bad. Overall, this should work. The biggest issue is it doesn't know how to handle the weight of the body, which is pretty normal. How can we expect it to? It's just saying, hey, do you want to get rid of the character we had last time? Yes, last time the character that was in here was Freerin. But overall, the skeleton should work just fine. And we can kind of take a look at the crouch to stand. And the legs are moving fine, the arms are moving fine. It's just the body that might be having an issue, which shouldn't be too bad. Because overall, it's moving okay. You can just see there's just some breaking. I'll move my head out of the way a little bit. There's just some kind of breaking right here in that chin area. But overall, this should be fine. So let's get rid of this animation. And let's download our Mixamo character. We'll bring it out as an FBX, bring it in a T-pose. That's fine. Actually, you know what? I'll do the original pose. T-pose should be fine, but I'm going to do the original pose so it's not manipulating those joints at all. That way, we can kind of ensure that MetaTailor put the clothes on as best as possible. T-poses are preferred. But because this is such a unique character, I'm going to leave it in its original pose. I'm going to hit download. All right, where do I want to put it? This is SpongeBob. Put it right here. SpongeBob Live. I'm going to call this one SpongeBob Mix because he's my Mixamo character. All right, I'm going to keep Mixamo up. I'm going to drag it over here for now. And I already have MetaTailor pulled up, so let's grab MetaTailor. And let's import a character. Let's do a new project. We'll just start with any of these. We'll do Male Skinny. Call it SpongeBob. Well, I could have hit custom avatar import. I wasn't thinking. It's still a newer feature in our 2.5 beta here. All right, let's bring in an avatar now. Desktop, not documents, that's where I'm already at. Desktop, and find that SpongeBob, this one. All right, SpongeBob Mix. Open it up, and there he is. He's so tiny. Hit apply pose, doesn't need to. Minor hierarchies. Let's crank a scale up to like, 10's a little bit high. Not 102. I want to do double his size. Yeah, let's do double his size. Let's scale him up double. He's called SpongeBob Mix. I'll just call him SpongeBob. And let's add some textures. He did come with textures. So you can add my body textures. Ta-da! This will just be fun to have in here. Did he have a normal map? He did have a normal map. And he did not. He had a like outline right here, but I'm not going to apply that. He had a sketch version. Just want to see what the difference between this and the sketch version is. Ooh, that one's that. It's like the creepy close-up textured version. All right, let's make sure I've got the right one here. I'm going to grab just the Witty Stork texture, and I'm going to grab. I want to make sure I get the Witty Stork body texture. There we go. A little less high detail, a little less creepy. I just realized I was doing all that behind my head. I'm just messing with these color tabs right here. So I just added our color, our normal maps. I can mess with my values and hues if I wanted to, but I'm pretty happy with it as it is. I just add those two colors in here. Don't worry, we'll do it again. Next step. All right, this is if we wanted to split anything off. If the tie was separate, if the arms were separate. So this is one of the moments where maybe SpongeBob might not be the best asset. Where SpongeBob's tie, his collar, his pants, they're all kind of attached to the body. There's nothing underneath them, which I get. Why would you want to see underneath SpongeBob's clothes? Unless you're working in MetaTailor and you want to put different clothes on them. So but these things are kind of coming in as their own asset, so we can go ahead and hit next step. Oh my gosh, that is amazing. That did a really good job of laying out his landmarks. So there's a couple of things I'll adjust because it doesn't quite understand it, but it hit the wrist, the elbows, the knees, the heels, the toes. It hit all of those pretty dang well. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring our arm up and put that right about there. I'll do the same to the other side, kind of get it right up in there so it kind of sits right there. Skull base, neck base, we'll leave that as it is. The only other thing I wanted to do is you can see the belly is sitting on the outside. Let's bring the nipples out to the outside as well. Sure all of that is sitting pretty even. This is left, pull you over to here, right above the leg. Yeah, the nose is perfect. That was my biggest wow shade. Like pulling that up like that. I don't need to move the nose at all. That was truly masterful. If you've been watching any of our past live streams or anything like that, the nose is always the thing we usually have to double check. I think that's close enough. But it nailed that perfectly. Same with skull crown. All right. I'm gonna leave the heels and the toes where they are. It could maybe cause a little bit of an issue with the feet. I might want to bring those toes out a little bit. But he's a stylized character. He's already wearing shoes. So if I put any shoes on him, they're gonna have to be a little bit bigger anyway to hide his feet. Let's go ahead and hit next step. All right, so we've got our avatar in here. He's ready to go. Now we can start adding clothes to him. Let's see what it would look like if we threw a shirt. Let's do a regular MetaTailor shirt. Let's find something from MetaTailor. Let's go to clothing, categories. Let's go to shirts. I want to see how well it just does like an orange collared shirt. Is this from, I think this one's from MetaTailor. Apply. It doesn't quite like it, which was understandable. I had expected that a little bit. But the neat thing with SpongeBob is even though his body and his shirts might not work, I did grab something I knew would work for him. So let's go to import, go to cloth and accessories, desktop. I grabbed the Krabby hat from the Krusty Krab. Perfect, and it has its textures. I don't need to do anything to it. Let's go ahead and hit next step. So now we're importing item, something for the head. So I'm gonna put that on the head. It's called the Krabby hat. We'll call it the Krusty Krab hat. Krusty Krab hat. It's bringing it in. I called it the head. I can hit keep source dimensions. It makes it huge. I'll keep it with the dimensions that it's guessing. And at least we can bring this in here. Let's go ahead and hit next step. And now we move it around. And just kind of put it right on top of his head. Pull back. I'll rotate it a little bit to sit right there. And I'll scale it down. It's comically large, but that's okay. We want a little bit of that. He is still. And there it is. All right, confirm. Next step. And there he goes. We've got a hat on him. So if you have a whole bunch of clothes for a unique character, let's say you created something very unique in ZBrush, or you created something very unique. I'm sorry, there's gonna be a little camera wiggle. I've tried to move stuff around. But let's say you created something very unique in ZBrush or Maya, a character that is not bipedal, a character that is not 100% human. What this is showing you is even if that's the case, as long as it has a rig and you bring it into MetaTailor, you could potentially swap out clothes. Now, if I took this and I made some specifically box-shaped clothes for SpongeBob, I could be able to build a whole content wardrobe within MetaTailor, hypothetically. And I might dig into this in the future and see how far we can push this. This is kind of like a preliminary test, but the fact that the Krusty Krab hat works is a really good sign. I could start creating different hats for this character, a la Team Fortress 2. I could start bringing in a whole bunch of things and creating a really interesting wardrobe for a very specific character. MetaTailor is not limited to meta-humans or special characters that I'm just ripping off of like Marvel Rivals or Fortnite or anything like that. It can work beyond that. So let's go ahead and see what else we can add. I want to try to add one more thing to SpongeBob. I want to try to add a couple more things to SpongeBob. A shirt didn't work, but let's go over to shoes. Let's take a look at something a little bit chunkier. I like Zoe's shoes from K-Pop Demon Hunters. And those actually work pretty well because he's got some really normal looking feet. It's going over his current shoe, but that looks like SpongeBob's got some nice kicks on. That worked. So a shirt didn't work, but a hat and shoes worked. So once again, you can really start to build in that customization with this character. Let's try pants. Let's go ahead and see if we can get some pants on this character. So going over, taking off shoes. Let's go to pants. I'm gonna avoid like slim fit and stuff like that. I'm leaning towards something bigger, like the zombie camo pants. All right, and so this is kind of where it once again gets a little weird because it wants to be cylindrical. It wants to be humanoid. So these pants are built for a human. I wonder though, taking some of my controllers here, go back to tools. Okay, bring up the yield is making it nice and tight. The thickness is working kind of like around the bottom here. I took these pants and let's put it in like a 2x2 grid here and try to pull that out a little bit. Let's take this grid and hopefully we don't crash MetaTailor by making it extra wacky. Let's not do 2x2. Let's bring that back and hit confirm. Nope, that Control Z did not work. So let's clear these pants and try one more time. I like the 2x2 for pulling it forward. That worked just fine, but pulling it to the side, I'll need a little bit more. Pulling it backwards, there we go. Confirm, let's go by like a 4x4, perfect. Now let's grab these points. here and start to pull those out. And maybe like these two here. Start to pull those out a little ways. And once again, grab these top 4, pull those out, and try to mimic that on the other side over here. Pull those way out, pull like these two a little bit more. All right, let's hit confirm, and let that try to tailor around. So it's working. It'll still take a little bit of touching up. But I would not say that's not working. Especially if we crank that thickness up a little bit more, take that yield up a little bit more, some push-pull. Oh, I almost went for my hotkeys for ZBrush for that brush size. All right, bring you down a little bit. So it's taken a little bit of extra effort. Like I said, I would not say this is a failure. I would not say this isn't working. I would say this is doing a very successful job of fitting pants on a character who should not be wearing these pants. I'm using big brush strokes. Smoothing this out. Let's hit confirm. So, a little bit extra work, a little bit extra time. Those pants would work really well. Put those under the shoes there. Oh, nope, I would not put those under the shoes. Bring those shoes back out. And SpongeBob's wearing a pair of pants in MetaTailor. This was a success. So, really kind of taking a look and saying, hey, can we take the most stylized character out of SpongeBob and get them in clothes? And absolutely we can. It worked. So, let's go ahead and let's clear these pants out. Clear these shoes out because I want SpongeBob to exist on my homepage. And I'll hit save, and let's go back, and let's do a new avatar. Let's do a new project, custom avatar import. We've done the Krabby Hat. We've done SpongeBob. Let's grab Patrick. But I forgot to throw Patrick into Mixamo. So let's go quick pop over to Mixamo. And we can do upload a character. Select a character file. Grab Patrick. Grab my Patrick Live. No, this is Patrick. All right, so Patrick, next step, same thing, aim for the chin, aim for what we think his wrists will be, aim for what we think his elbows would be, aim for where we think his knees would be, and aim for where we think his groin is. So just like SpongeBob, there's nothing under his pants. So we're bringing in Patrick with pants. I did split off his pants to apply to another character if I wanted to. But for Patrick, we're just gonna try to bring him in and throw a shirt on, maybe that Krusty Krab hat, maybe some shoes or something like that. We'll try to see. We'll see what we can do with Patrick. But he's got a different thing. He's got no fingers, he's got no toes. So let's see what this kind of character brings in. It's gonna yell at us, do you want to delete the SpongeBob? Yeah, we do. So when I was building these characters and taking a look at them, I discussed some of these things and talked about it, and I think the one that's going to work the best is going to be Squidward, which we're going to wrap up the stream with. We're, like I said, just having fun with these first two, and then Squidward I really want to try to bring in and get some clothes on. So let's go ahead and hit next. Do I delete SpongeBob? Always. He's looking a little bit more like Doodle Bob anyway. So there's Patrick. He's got some weird textures on his eyes. That's okay. He's in here. Let's see. Oh, his face is a little weird, but let's do something a little less. Let's do a... I can never pronounce it. It's the dancing fighting Sayak. Capora? I threw the whole pack in there. Let's see. Should I click on something simpler? dancing twerk. So Mixamo always has trouble with characters who are a little bit bigger, a little bit wider. I think we're gonna get sued for this. I better get rid of it. Nickelodeon's gonna be like, you made Patrick twerk on stream? Of course. All right, Patrick, original pose. He's already in a T-pose, but we'll keep it in the original pose. Download. Same reasons why I wanted SpongeBob in the original pose. Let's take it out of SpongeBob, and let's throw this on Patrick. We call it Patrick Mix. And I'm keeping Mixamo open because we need one more. So that's how easy Mixamo is. Mixamo is super easy for getting a character ready to go and into MetaTailor. Patrick Mixamo. Because MetaTailor needs an avatar, or needs a skeleton for your avatar. You can't just bring in an FBX, it needs a skeleton. And if you don't know how to rig, if you're not a professional rigger, you want to throw this into Mixamo. You don't want to mess with Maya's HIK. You don't want to mess with anything you don't know. Mixamo, it's click and drag, point and click adventure. It's super easy. All right, so let's throw in Patrick. All right, let's hit apply pose. For some reason, he was collapsed. I'm pretty sure I went into these FBXs and made sure that their rotation was correct, but his rotation, for some reason, is not correct. So if yours acts like this or does anything weird like this, you can just hit apply pose and he should be okay. So I don't know what's going on with that skeleton, but that looks fine. Let's go ahead and grab a color texture map. Color textures, we've got Patrick's body. But it is really dark. So let's crank our value up. There we go. Let's add, and we're on our body. He also has stuff for he's got a whole bunch for his eyes and inserts and stuff like that. We'll try to add those. Let's check for a normal, character body for his normal. There we go. We have some normals. Let's go ahead and take a look at this eye. Can I change the hue of this to kind of understand where you're at? So that's going to be the right eye. I think he just has, oh my. They did something weird with that. So saturation, hue, value. We can't necessarily scale this, but the UV map on this character's eye is not 100% correct. You can see they've got the UV map like repeating. It's too big. They didn't know what to do. That's okay. That would be something I'd have to go into Maya to fix, but they'll just have 4 pupils for the sake of this video for now. All right, next step. Mesh extractor. I think we'll be able to do a mesh extractor with one of my Squidward characters. But we'll go ahead and hit next step. Skull ground, perfect nose tip. He doesn't have a nose, of course. It struggled with that one. It landed those arms pretty well. I'm gonna bring these in for a little bit more of the shoulder. Elbows, wrists are good. Nipples, just like with SpongeBob, a little bit too far inwards. Doesn't know how to read his body, but his belly is good. Nipple R over here, nipple L over here. Check this again, that's looking pretty good. Legs are looking good, toes and heels are looking good. We can't really put shoes on this character. And same with the other one, neck base, skull base. I'll leave those as it is. But for the skull crown, if I want that Krabby Patty hat to sit properly, I'm gonna put that up a little bit higher, right about there. All right, let's hit next step and let's see how well we do with this character. And let's go ahead and apply that Krabby hat, that Krusty Krab hat. A little big, a little out of place because SpongeBob is so different. But we can take this and maybe scale it down a little bit, make it more his size. And plop, plop, plop. Perfect. I could probably even, let's bring it down and see if we can't make it feel like it's wrapped around his big noggin. Yep. So that's even better. That feels like it's getting squeezed on top of Patrick's head, like he pulled it too far down. That just adds character to it. I really like that it's wrapping around like that. We could probably even push that even farther if we wanted to and really make it feel like it's stuck to his head. That adds so much humor to this. I love the look of that. I think that's fantastic. I would absolutely kind of keep it that way. We can take our thickness up a little bit. Maybe we can take our yield. Let's keep our yield up. Let's see what our shrink wrap does. Let's bring our shrink wrap down. There, that shrink wrap makes it feel even more accentuated. Gives that really nice aesthetic curve right there. I think that looks really cool. I think that's successful. All right, so there's the hat. Let's try a shirt on Patrick. We could try the Santa coat. It's for a bigger character. It kind of worked. But remember from our last stream, we ran into the issue of the Santa coat has that belly built into it, so it extends that belly a little bit farther. So maybe that wasn't the best shirt to start with, because you can see it's pushing it out a little bit too far. But let's go ahead and do just like a regular fit shirt. And that works. It's a little long because Patrick's body is so short, but the shirt is fitting across the body. Maybe just a little bit of cleanup in the back. Let's find another shirt. I want to find a shirt that kind of fits a little bit better right out the gate. Let's give him a beer pong shirt, feels fitting. All right, so that's doing pretty well. All right, so let's go ahead and take the thickness up. Take our yield, keep our yield where it is. Our shrink wrap doesn't need that. But the whole thing overall, maybe we just kind of move it back and let's just try to scale it outwards so we can see it out on both sides. There we go, kind of like that. And maybe just pull that forward a little bit. Maybe scale it out this way too. And hit confirm and just kind of see what that does. Wow, a little bit better. Awesome, that's fitting a little better. Now let's go ahead and take our shrink wrap. Even bigger brush, even bigger brush. Every single one of these words that are sticking out here. So confirm, looking good in the back, looking really good in the front. Grab that, we just grab our grab tool. Oops, go to the original, grab tool. Maybe pull some, oh, that's supposed to be our grab tool. Nice big brush. Start to pull some of that up a little bit. In a little bit. Out a little bit. These guys, just kind of pull them up. Trying to fix those out a little bit. Confirm. That's looking good. Look at that. Look at that. That's looking great. That worked. Just gonna pull that collar out a little bit more. It's getting a little bit crumpled on him, so I'm gonna use my push-pull brush to maybe kind of fluff that all out a little bit, have that stop kind of wrapping into his head. See what that does for us. Relax it back down a little bit. Maybe smooth it down. Just testing different things to see what might be pulled nicely. Confirm. Just take a look at it, how that tailors after the fact. I messed up that sleeve over there a little bit, but hey, it's looking better with each pass. All right, like I said, we shouldn't add shoes, so let's do it. Let's show what it would do if it broke the shoes. So if you wanted a shoe on something like Patrick, I would probably turn off effects layering. And even then it's making them, it's not showing them. So yeah, his feet are not conducive with shoes. All right. Let's see, clothing. What about pants? I mean, it kind of works. It's just kind of crushing the legs of the pants, kind of just like the shirt was getting crushed. But hey, they're kind of in the right spot. Once again, a little bit of work, a little bit of effort. You can get those on there. All right, let's save Patrick where he's at. Thank you, Brad. All right, now let's work on the character I think will work the best. And that's going to end up being, give him the black thigh-high boots. Oh, you're right. I absolutely should. I absolutely should. Let's do the Zombie Apocalypse cowboy boots. Let's turn off effects layering. Oh, come on, where are you guys? I need a boot. I need a good boot that we can... What I need is I need a boot that is mirrored across, not the horse racing boots, not the, like those are the right boots, but I need something that's a single boot that's thigh high, like this pirate boot. That'll kind of work for us. That way I can scale that up. Where are you? So you're out here. Oh, why don't you like that? What about a heretic boot? There you are. Confirm. Turn off effects layering. Scale you up. Go. That's probably the closest I can get. But if I had some proper thigh-high Patrick boots, I think we could get that in there. I think that's... Look at that. After taking off effects layering, getting it to the proper size, and getting that at a position, we could absolutely give him... He's below the ground plane. He's below the ground plane, but we could absolutely give him some thigh-high boots. That would absolutely work. A little bit of Maya magic, and we absolutely could nail this. We could absolutely nail that meme look, 100%. Absolutely doable. Give me like an hour after the stream. I'll find some fishnet stockings. I'll find some thigh-high boots. We'll see if we can't get Patrick in that. Awesome. Let's save this. Let's hop over to Squidward. Yeah, exactly. The vision is there. We could absolutely get it. All right, so like I said, Squidward, I think, will end up being our easiest one to nail. So let's go ahead and go to Mixamo. Upload a character. Select a character from the files. Desktop, grab our Squidward, regular Squidward. I've got 2 Squidwards. Where did I put it in the other one? Bear with me. Which Squidward? Lovable Squid, regular Squid. I've got this Squidward, but he is not the one that I wanted. Squidward shirt. Did I not export him out? Put in the word, bubbable coat, bubbable hat. Let's double check. So there was an issue with the Squidward. And so I did take a little bit of time building him in Maya, and like I said, I've got a video on that for later this week. I'll do this while I wait for Maya to open up. So the issue with Squidward was the 2 Squidwards I found was one in his bubbable outfit and one Squidward in his generic outfit. And the problem became that the generic outfit didn't have anything underneath it. It had no shirt under, it had nothing underneath the shirt, but I wanted that body in there, and I wanted to avoid the issue we had with SpongeBob and Patrick. So with the bubbable, he did have a body underneath it, but it didn't quite match up. So it took a little bit of finagling, a little bit of Maya work to get this Squidward working right. So between the 2 models of bubbable Squidward and regular Squidward, I was able to Frankenstein a well-working Squidward, with the only caveat being his body texture wasn't perfect. So I do have it in Maya. I just apparently forgot to export it out as an FBX, so we'll do that together. I'll show you how to do that. But as you can see, his body does have that shirt, but it doesn't have the geometry. It doesn't have the collar. It doesn't have like the overlap of the shirt. So it'll be a lot easier to put clothes on this and just hide this bad shirt texture that's underneath it. This also had the wonderful little like kind of tentacle suction cups on the bottom. And the other big thing about this character that I really liked is that his legs were separated into two kind of sets here, where the other one was one melded together leg. And that's something you have to be really careful about when you're trying to find avatars for MetaTailor. A lot of things are 3D scans, and those legs are like they've got a seam. They're welded together. So you have to watch out for 3D scans and stuff like that. You really want to try to find characters optimized for games or animations. So that's why a lot of the stuff I pull for this stuff is off of DeviantArt, Sketchfab, and Fab.com. DeviantArt mostly because that's where you can find some of the rips from games like Marvel Rivals and Fortnite and stuff like that. That's where we got our K-pop Demon Hunters. That's where we got Star-Lord. That's where we got a lot of our past live stream characters. A lot of the Dragon Ball Z characters, the Naruto characters, all that stuff that I've done before. I really try to find stuff that existed in a video game or is from a video game to bring into here, because those are really well built for MetaTailor. All right, so we've got Squidward. I did all that work on him, so let's just grab him and hit File. Whoops, here's my export selection. Desktop, I'll put him under regular Squidward, and we'll call this Squid Live. Close out of this. I don't need to save that. Go back over to wherever Mixamo went. There you are. Upload a character. Squidward. Squid Live, open. Next, chin is gonna be behind that nose somewhere. I don't know how well it'll land that. Wrists, elbows, knees, left knee, left elbow, left wrist. Okay. There. I was looking at that little guide up there to help me. All right, next step. Ideally, probably the next thing I would have wanted to have done in my app is maybe take those feet and smush them together. But that's looking pretty good. It's reading that pretty well. Nice. Squidward doing an MMA kick. Hitting that weird pose. Nice. Now I'm just having fun in here. All right, let's download this character. So those tests tell me that this will probably work really well. Download. Shoes will be weird. Call it Squidward Live. Not Squidward Live, Squidward Mix. Squid Mix. There we go. I'm going to keep Mixamo open for one more surprise thing. What? There's another character that was untold. Yes, there is. There's one more character. That's in the SpongeBob stream asset. Squid Mix. Open Squidward. All right. Only those of you who have stuck around for this long. Awesome. So actually, it's got that color. What if I change, is the hue gonna, Squid B body, nice. What if I try to aim for, let's see, hue a little bit more blue, a little less saturation, a little bit of saturation. I can almost nail that color right there. A little bit more tweaking if I knew the actual numbers. If I went to eyedropper it, that could probably help. But that's almost spot on. Nice, nice, nice. So let's hit next step. We've got nothing for that. If we did the Bubble Bowl one, I could. Nose tip. And look at that, Shane. It got that. Awesome. I'm not going to pull the nose tip down to the bottom. I'm going to bring it out to like right there is perfect. It's maybe a little higher. The forward most part of the nose, skull base, skull crown, neck base, arm, elbow, wrist. This is the best landing so far. I think this is the best landing so far on all of this stuff. I don't think I have to change, like I said, maybe change the nose tip a little bit. I don't think I have to change anything else. All right, so we've got Squidward. And now I've got some assets for Squidward. So this is going to be proof of concept from the start of this stream of if you've got a really stylized character that you want to swap outfits on, this should work. So let's go ahead and hit import, cloth and accessories. I have just his regular shirt. So let's go ahead and import that in. There it is. There's Squidward's shirt. The colors are there. I feel like it's not brown enough. I feel like it should be sitting more in this range. I think it just feels like something slightly off, but hey, I was able to nail it. Let's bring the smoothness down, make that a little bit more flat colored. I think that's more realistic to Squidward's shirt if I was to pull. There we go. Call it a shirt. Keep source dimensions. Like I said, I made the body a little different. I made the body slightly different for this character because I had to Frankenstein two of them together. But I think all I have to do is hit next step and it'll apply that shirt. It'll tailor it. Look at that. This is proof of concept. This is exactly what I was talking about at the start of the stream. You've got a stylized character that is not your typical metahuman, not your typical character that you pull from anywhere, just the typical male or female form. This is an odd character. You can build a wardrobe and bring that wardrobe and have it auto-rigged to your character to then take to Unreal or wherever you want to take it. This works. So let's get another outfit. That's his standard shirt. Let's go ahead and clear it. Let's go ahead and quick import. Like I said, I grabbed the Bubble Bowl outfit. So let's go back to our Bubble Bowl Squidward and grab the Bubble Bowl coat. There it is. Once again, these colors feel off. There we go. A little bit more saturation sitting right around there. That feels a little bit better. Take that smoothness down. Perfect. Next step. Call this, I'm going to call this a shirt again. Keep source dimensions. Made for a different Squidward, but I feel like the size will still be a little bit more accurate. Pull it up. Aim for that neck. Let's scale that up just a little bit. There we go. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Awesome. Let's get that right in there. When you're placing this, you're looking for about 60% accuracy. It doesn't have to be 100% accurate because MetaTailor's magic is going to take it the rest of the way. It's going to take it home for us. Next step. He's got the Bubble Bowl coat. He is all set. Look at that. I'm really happy that this worked. In my head, I knew it should. I knew that Squidward, this would go so successfully, and it is blowing my expectations out of the water. I think this is going perfectly for proof of concept that if you've got a custom character, this will work on that custom character. Bring that up, have that sit really high up on this character right here. Look at that. Oh, he's floating off the ground a little bit. That just means I did not hit apply pose when I first brought this avatar in there. That means in Maya, he's hovering a little bit and I should have adjusted for that. But hey, look, it's still working. It's still working how I want it to. And we've got him in there. I'm gonna save this. Now, I wanted to see, we've done all this work. He was not the only one in the Bubble Bowl. I know it won't work on SpongeBob, but will this work if we transfer this over to Patrick? Oh, it is so close. A little bit of tweaking, just like with everything else. A little thickness. Let's bring it down to like a 3x3. This might be where a 4x4 would have been better for the sake of... I'm just going to quick do something for myself here. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain for a second. All right, just wanted to quick take a screenshot of that because I have a thought. I got a thought I want to talk about. All right, pull that out, like right about there. And how about this back stuff right here? Right there. All right, let's hit confirm. Let's see how well this does with these changes. That's doing pretty good. A little bit of crumpling in the sleeves here. A little bit more work in those sleeves, but that transferred over to Patrick really well. We can do the same thing with this hat like we did with the other hat. Bring that down, let it wrap around that head. Thick old noggin. We need the sunglasses. Patrick. Oh boy, I need some reference images. Do we have... Let's see. Do we have a belt and do we have sunglasses? That's what we got to find out. Ooh, Blaine from Pokemon. That's pretty close. From our Pokemon live stream. Let's clear those. They're breaking a little bit. Let's get these athleisure ones on here. It's aiming for that nose tip that doesn't exist. There we go. This is, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to grab my grab tool. Because I want to move these whole lenses, the entire lens. Move that entire lens inward to match the shape of his eyes. That's pretty close. Let's find a belt. Just scaling it to grow around his corpulent form. There we go. Shrink wrap that. A little bit of tweaking on those arms, and I think we got it. I think we nailed it. All right. Let's clear this. Let's go back to our Squidward. Oh, I was looking for belt. Squid. But, like I said, Squidward should be our best candidate for almost any outfit. Because he's the most humanoid. He's not necessarily limited to the outfits. I'm sorry. Yes. For SpongeBob. It should work on a lot of other outfits. And it is working pretty well. Few things here and there where maybe his head is not quite 100%, but once that tailoring gets in there, look at that. I did that one for you, Shane. I saw him like I gotta hit the button. Calling me like the Green Goblin mask. But look at these. Look at these. I'm just clicking buttons and it's applying full outfits that just need a little tweaking. Just such a small amount of tweaking for a character that is very stylized. A very stylized character needs, like this cyberpunk kimono, that's almost no tweaking. Maybe a little bit on the shoes. Everything else is fitting really nicely, maybe around the hood right here. But the mask goes out over the nose. That's hilarious. If I wanted to, I could maybe like grab that mask. I could even take that mask off. And he's still looking really good in this. Hard part is those back feet. Like I said, if I had mushed those feet together in Maya, that might have been a little bit more accurate. But that's looking really good just around the character right here. And if we go, we could see about as simple Squidward running animation. Do a man walking animation. And it's kind of working. Let's say just ignore those back feet. You know, we can't ignore those back feet. We can absolutely ignore those back feet. Let's clear this for a second. Let's go to our viewport settings. Let's go back to our bind pose. What is stopping us from grabbing our character and grabbing our visibility brush and making these back feet disappear? It could, I mean, it's going to leave a little bit of a hole right there. And you can see I kind of hit the bottom of the foot a little bit in a weird way. But I'm going to go ahead and hit confirm. And now, oops, I did the wrong feet. Oh, well. How can I... Let's go ahead and just re-bring him in. Where is he? Change avatar, change avatar. There he goes. I hit the alternating feet. But yeah, so you can hide those feet if you need to. Let's import our last avatar. Of course, before we do, we need to go to Mixamo. Upload a character. And we gotta just gonna put this here. Just gonna put this here. We're gonna do this together. Let's hit next. I just want to get it into MetaTailor. Yeah, add a Z mirror for the 4-footed use case. That's gonna be high on our list for the next update. Z mirroring. Hey, ZBrush has it. Next, it's working perfectly. Download. I just want to get it. I just want to get it into MetaTailor before we do anything else. True squid mix. All right, now I'm done with Mixamo. Let's bring on our new avatar. Put that under regular Squidward, true squid. Let's get him in here. Apply pose. I don't know, I'm on the eyes. There he is. In all his glory. I had to get Handsome Squidward in here. We couldn't do a SpongeBob stream without Handsome Squidward nailing the landmarks on everything except for, okay, here's our first nose tip where I might actually bring it down. Maybe bring those... Nah, bring those out just a little bit more. Have it sitting on the outside of the mesh. Next step. There he is. So now we can go ahead and do our bubble bowl coat. It works. We can do our bubble bowl hat. Struggling just a little bit around the sleeves right here. I don't know why the sleeves are doing this with every character. That's got to be something with the mesh of these sleeves. I did not edit this character in any way, shape, or form. Pulled straight from wherever he was coming from. I'm gonna smooth some of that out, I guess. I don't know. I don't know why his sleeves are so weird. Like I said, that's got to be the bubble bowl coat, because it did this on Patrick, it did this on Squidward, it did this on everybody. Each element of this, like they all clipped right here. So that tells me there's maybe something wrong with the mesh and how that's getting read, because everything else is working just fine. We can add a little thickness to this. That's looking a lot better. There he is. Viewport settings. Let's do idle. Where's a nice idle? He's ready for the bubble bowl. Let's go ahead and get him in something else. Let's see. Let's go to my assemblies. Clear the helmet. Clear the neck. Death Knight Handsome Squidward. It is 11:02. I actually burned through these avatars a lot faster than I thought I would. I thought we would go into 11:30 a little later. But yeah, we can end on Death Knight Handsome Squidward. Right there. Awesome. So let's see. Pretty spot on. Visions there. Awesome. Yeah, I'm just checking chats, making sure I didn't miss anything. So there we have it. Lots of fun with the Squidward characters, but like I said, a perfect example, a perfect like use case or proof of concept that you can do. MetaTailor is not limited to very realistic human characters. It's not limited even to slightly stylized human characters like K-pop demon hunters, Overwatch, Marvel Rivals, stuff that is still very humanoid but slightly stylized, or anime like that. You can push the bounds of MetaTailor to characters like SpongeBob, Patrick, Squidward, Handsome Squidward, whatever you need it to be. And this, like I said, this right here, proof of concept. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to snapshot this. This is going to go up on the Discord for our wonderful live stream to show us how cool our handsome Squidward is. But thank you all for joining us. Drop that in there. Remember to send that later. All right. So that's it for tonight's live stream. We imported a whole bunch of avatars. We imported some clothing to go along with it. And we really kind of, like I said, I wanted to try this concept live with all of you to see how well it went. So thank you all for sticking around for us. As always, if you like this content, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, follow us on YouTube, and also join our Discord. I'm going to drop the share link for our Discord in here one more time. Let me go to invite to server, copy. There we go. Make sure you are on our Discord. Our Discord is where we announce new streams, where we keep you updated on our schedule. If we have new updates coming out or anything like that, our Discord will be the ones who are notified first. And sometimes you guys get secret streams ahead of everybody else to kind of take a look at this new content, because our Discord supporters are awesome. They're there, they're helping, they're asking for support, they're actively using it. If you are creating stuff, if you're creating cool, handsome Death Knight Squidwards, please send me that stuff. Send it to me personally over Discord. I'm on the channel. You can put it in the community creations. I'd love to really start featuring your work at the start of these streams. I would like to show our community's amazing creations at the start of these streams. So please send me that work. I'll be as we get into the new year and stuff like that, I'll be pushing for that a little bit harder. But if you're here watching it with me right now, please send me the stuff you're making. I would love to see it, and I'd love to share it with the community. So please throw that out there. This is the last stream for 2025. I believe next time, let's quick take a look. The next time we are going to meet is going to be Friday. So we're bumping back to Friday. I'm just jumping between a couple days just to give everybody a chance to watch the stream. So I'll see you all on Friday the 2nd. That is the 2nd of the new year. That is the next time we're going to stream. And then after that, I believe we're going to... We'll see. We'll see if there's one after that. We got some stuff to talk about and work out. And then see if we're out that far. But definitely, I will see you next Friday. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for hanging out. Get out of here. Go get dressed. We'll see you later. Have a happy new year.